This special edition of ViewFinder New Valley is brought to you by...
At Lionakis, it's always been about relationships, performance, and design.
Lionakis, proud to support education in the community and KVIE Public Television.
What's it like to be a teacher?
The word is getting out about teaching.
Have prepared a lot of information.
Summers off. Ability to make a difference.
The school has been a revolving door every single year.
So why is it after 4 years, nearly a quarter of all new teachers quit?
If you don't want to be here, I'm not one to try to keep you here.
Your services will not be required for the 2009-10 school year.
What's driving so many new teachers away, and how does it affect our schools?
You're talking about people's lives.
We spent an entire school year capturing the highs and lows of what it's like to be a brand new teacher.
It isn't perceived by the general public as the kind of profession, the honorable profession, the exciting profession that it once was.
What would lead a new teacher to throw away the cost and effort of all their years of preparation? Will these teachers make it?
I still have hope. I guess growing up, my mom always said, you should be a teacher, it'd be great for you. But I was never able to realize that potential. There was always something missing. And then I went on a trip out of this country for about 5 years. There are a lot of emotions that took place on that trip, and that's when I really decided, after meeting tons and tons of kids and talking about myself and my country and my culture and learning about theirs, I said, you know what, I love that look that kids have in their eyes when they learn something new.
It's the first day of school at Edward Kemble Elementary, and it's Thane House's first day on the job, teaching first grade. Already, he's got problems.
I guess the main fear is failure, you know, and having kids cry. I didn't get all the kids over there, so I have to find out who I have.
And now, after a mix-up on the playground, some of his kids are missing.
I'm off to find my kids.
The story of how and why Thane became a teacher is important. Feeling unfulfilled in his prior work, he set out on a bike trip to find himself. For 5 years, he rode from Alaska to the tip of South America. Along the way, he mastered Spanish, met, fell in love with, and eventually proposed to his wife Bernice. Together, they went on to cycle around the entire South American continent.
I really was able to understand who I was and what I wanted.
He decided what he really wanted was to teach. Specifically, teaching Spanish-speaking children back in his home state of California. After college, he got the job at Edward Kemble to teach in a special language program.
And I'll be teaching everything in Spanish.
So after a 5-year journey to discover what he wanted in life, 4 years of college, 2 years of credentialing, what would possibly make Thane, or any other new teacher like him, want to quit? The facts prove an alarming number will. In the days before school started, we asked Thane why he thought 25% of new teachers don't make it.
I can't answer that from my perspective. I don't know why they would leave teaching. I don't think I'll be one of those. I've been wanting this for a long time.
But over the course of the year, Thane and teachers like him will be pushed to their limits.
We really aren't here to play. You need to go next door. You need to go back to your room.
If I can manage the classroom well, I'll be a successful teacher.
If you want to play, go play somewhere else.
If I can get the kids to listen to me when I'm talking, I'll be a successful teacher.
Jose, I'm going to call your mom, and I'm going to ask her why you come to school today to play. I'm going to ask her that, so be prepared for the answer.
If I can take the strengths and the weaknesses of all the kids and turn them into successes, I'll be a successful teacher.
Who else wants to play? Come on, bring it on.
If I can keep my job, I'll be a successful teacher.
If you guys come into this classroom one more time and you are not ready to learn, I will kick you out of this classroom, I will call your parents, and I will not be your teacher.
What's behind the statistics? Is it the schools
But the reality of it is it's a tough school, and some people find out that maybe this isn't the place for me.
Is it the educational bureaucracy?
What priorities does the state of California have that puts schools last?
Is it the workload?
We push too hard, and we're going to push a teacher like Thane right out of the profession.
No.
For now, at the end of this first day, Thane's spirits are still high. He found his kids after the mix-up, and once they warmed up to him, together they started the year-long process of what they came to school for.
I think they learned a little bit today. So overall, I think it was successful. I'm happy.
A week into the school year, and reality begins to hit, especially the reality of the school itself.
It's tough to be at this school.
Edward Kimball is located in the heart of a troubled neighborhood, a place where the majority of houses have bars on the windows.
When I came on board 4 years ago, it was the lowest performing school in the district.
I want to take this opportunity again to thank all of the parents that
In her
came out
short
tonight.
tenure,
It's our first
Shayna
time.
Henry has helped turn the school around.
We have grown 133 API points. We've brought a really huge character ed perspective here to our school. So we found that kids were not in class because they were having behavior issues, and if they're not in class, they can't learn.
As part of the turnaround, Shayna has taken an active role in nearly every facet at the school.
I will sweep floors if you need me to. I will wipe cafeteria tables down. Mr. House! And I'm Captain Character, so every Friday you'll see me walking around school with a cape on. Rosario in the back. I give 100% here, and that's difficult to manage my life outside of work because work has become my life.
Guys, go ahead and grab a seat on the other side. That's fine.
And at times, the work has affected her health.
I fainted and I lost consciousness, and it's been about 4 times since I've started this job that's happened to me at night. My stress is at an all-time high. I don't share those things with my staff because I don't ever want it to look like, woe is me. I don't want to do a pity party. It's what I signed up to do, and I love my job.
Hi, Miss Henry. Hi, honey.
She takes a lot on herself,
Sign it and then put it in my box, okay?
and she expects a lot out of her staff.
As a principal, I have high expectations for the teachers here because our kids deserve it. And some people find out that maybe this isn't the place for me, or this was tougher than I had imagined, and they need to do what they need to do.
Bye, Jill. Bye, Nora.
If you don't want to be here, I'm not one to try to keep you here. It's best for the kids that you're in a happy place.
And why is it called a pie graph, you two?
A happy place is often tough for new teachers to find. Veteran teachers know you can almost set your watch to what overwhelms a new teacher first. They're strictly mandated schedules.
Literally every minute is accounted for.
You need to finish your spelling work?
Teachers call it pacing.
There's a list of minutes that I need to teach every single subject. It's been a struggle trying to fit all of the requirements into the weekly schedule.
There's not enough time. Teachers get paid for 6 hours, but it's not a 6-hour job. They have to go home, they have to plan. On top of that, they have to attend professional development.
No, you're supposed to finish page 10 first.
They have to be parents to a lot of these kids. They can't just walk away from school at the end of the day and say, my job is done. They just don't realize all that's involved in doing what they need to do. It's a lot.
So on the top has the standards that
On
they were
paper,
testing,
it makes
and then
sense.
each
Teachers need to
student
meet educational goals, and those goals are broken down into months and weeks and days. But it gets tricky when those goals are broken down into hours and minutes, because the smallest misstep can throw the whole day off.
The whole class showed that character.
Today, I was writing on the overhead, and I don't have transparencies yet. So I was using just the glass on the transparency, and I had the water, but I didn't have the towels to wipe it off. So I had to go back to the sink and had to get a towel. And then I didn't think to get 2 towels, I only got 1. It's the little things like that. It's the very small details. 10 seconds that I lost turns into 20 seconds, turns into 30 seconds. There's gotta be a better way.
And what happens if one student falls behind?
I know that I need to spend more time with certain people, but how do I fit that into a day that is so strictly set up that I don't really have the time to do it?
So what does that mean, making connections?
Oh, I take it home every day. Spend a lot of time on the weekend writing my lesson plans, looking over the lesson book.
Can I please use your pencil?
After Jill's first week on the job, it seems the bloom may already be starting to come off the rose, as she too struggles with the schedule.
What's going to be hard is just to not get overwhelmed, not to get stressed out.
Late nights at work take a toll on families, and Thane's wife has already taken notice.
And I have so much that I'm juggling, just a lot going on. I stayed till late on Friday. I stayed till like 10 at night.
Well, I'm trying not to work on the weekends for one. That's kind of our time together. And I've been violating that recently, so Bernice is not happy about that, and I totally don't blame her.
She's super patient, but I've got a couple kids, and I've got to pay attention to them too. It could potentially have some negative effects, for sure. Fortunately, we communicate to each other pretty well, so she has no problems telling me when I need to come home earlier. At all.
Dr. Ken Futernick authored a study for the California State University Center for Teacher Quality about why new teachers quit.
I have a lot of sympathy for teachers like Thane who are just beginning their careers in teaching. Every minute of his day is consumed, so imagine if there's just one little glitch, there's a family emergency, one night he can't plan for the next day the way he'd hoped for. These are the classic antecedents to teacher burnout.
In Dr. Futernick's research, he closely examined exactly what makes new teachers quit.
They don't really deal with the fundamental problems that make the schools unattractive in the first place, like creating a sense of team, good leadership, class size, professional development, making sure teachers have enough time, ridding the classroom of interruptions,
And so on and so forth.
unnecessary meetings. And many of those things are correctable without investing a lot of money. So that's what gives me hope that these problems can be solved.
For now, back in the classroom, today was a good day.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is awesome. I mean, I love it, and I'm in it. I'm in it for a long time, hopefully. At least 2 more weeks.
But a few more weeks into the school year proves to be all it takes.
And we still have a singer in the background. Please do not sing. Please pay attention.
For the students to finally push their new teachers to the limits.
Jocelyn, you need to kick it up a notch.
You know, their biggest concern back in August was getting their contract signed and getting their room pretty. That was their biggest concern.
I could legally keep you until 15 minutes after school, which is 1 more minute.
Whether or not the room looks pretty anymore, I think, is the last thing on their mind right now.
Remember when we had a sub on Wednesday? Yes. And remember, we did not show good character with him? And I said that there's consequences? Yes.
And so they had to write apology letters.
I had a student rip his paper into pieces, and so he had to tape it back together.
I know you couldn't understand the way we acted. I couldn't understand it either. Anyways, I'm sorry. Love, Iona.
Whether it's managing their classrooms or helping with schedules, the state does offer new teachers some support through a program called BITSA.
Hi.
Hi.
Thane.
Thane just rushed across town to make his meeting.
That's okay. This is Rhiannon. Rhiannon, this is Thane.
Rhiannon, hi.
Nice to meet you.
And the idea was that brand new teachers coming into the field need extra support. A person who is there to offer assistance.
And Rhiannon and I were also kind of talking about scheduling.
In theory,
to choose a
it's
new
a
focus.
wonderful
Pacing is
idea.
always- You guys have to accomplish 60 hours of meeting time, which seems kind of overwhelming.
Besides the BITSA, I have so much training going on right now.
Unfortunately, in practice, it doesn't work that way in all cases.
It's been very difficult for me to get there on time and to do much
Your
with it.
induction standard as something that you have to work towards.
Often what beginning teachers say about their BITSA program is that it's just another layer of paperwork. If it's operated well the way it was intended, it can make a huge difference. If it's not, it just adds to this churning of teachers, which contributes to the dysfunction at many schools that are really struggling to perform well.
What's that?
Possibly the best place for a first-year teacher to find advice is through a teacher who's recently been in their shoes. It's Tarek McFall's second year at Edward Kimball. For Tarek, there are at least 3 pieces of advice that could not only help a first-year teacher, but they also address some core issues of the entire teacher retention crisis.
Do we just make a random guess, or do we base it on what we've already read about?
First step, new teachers should question if the job is really for them.
It's not for everyone. There's a million things in the world that you can do, and if you choose to teach, love what you do and enjoy it. When it comes down to the end of the day, ask yourself the question, do I love what I do, and go from there.
What's the magic word?
If you're not in it for the right reasons, it's going to show. It's going to show in the way you teach, and it's going to rub off on the kids, and that's the last thing you want to do.
Second piece of advice, and it might fly in the face of state standards, it's knowing when to let the schedule go.
You can plan out your day. Never goes as planned. Never. Your day will never go like you plan it out. This way, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Never happens. Ever. Ever. The first day when I planned out my schedule, I said, what is going on?
Let's quiet down after off the mic.
Because the kids, you know, if they don't pick it up right away, sometimes we get caught up, okay, I need to make sure this kid gets it. The way I figure it, no matter what, I'm teaching. I may not hit on schedule every time, but I'm teaching the whole day.
And maybe the most important component is the role of the parents.
If I were to try to make it easier for teachers, it can't be done, but if it magically could happen, it would be to instill on every family the importance of education. That's it. If the connection's not there at home, it's so hard to get that connection and bring them into the classroom.
The parent component is often outside the educator's control, but teachers at Edward Kimball are taking it upon themselves to visit the homes of every single student.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Soy el señor House, el maestro de Lourdes. ¿Cómo estás?
The relationship building is, I think, the biggest part of it.
I was calling to set up the home visit that we had talked about at parent-teacher conference.
It's a teacher saying it to a parent, what can I do for your child? I'm here to help. And it's a parent telling a teacher, thank you for caring so much about my child.
When Thane visits the families of his students,
Hola, Victor.
He discovers many are doing all the right things. Almost all the parents he visits want a life for their children better than their own. It's after nights like these that job frustrations disappear, and Thane believes he has the best career in the entire world. As the months go by, things seem to be clicking. All of Thane's first graders are reading, test scores are holding, and discipline is under control. Things were going well. That was until this. Every year, thousands of California's teachers go through the pink slip process.
According to the March 15th layoff notices, nearly 30,000 professional educators receive these pink slips.
The process wears heavy on new teachers' already fragile nerves.
This letter constitutes notice that the superintendent of the Sacramento City Unified School District has recommended to the governing board that you be given notice that your services will not be required for the 2009-10 school year. That's it.
Never knowing if they'll have a job next year leads to enormous stress. But for years, the pink slip process has almost been a formality. Usually jobs are saved. Unfortunately, because of the economy, this year will be different.
The real reason that they are receiving these notices is because of the misguided priorities of many of the politicians whose offices sit right behind these steps.
Odds of me being back in this classroom in reality are probably really slim to none.
The tragedy that we're seeing today lands directly on the shoulders of these legislators.
They're not only laying off teachers, they're also closing schools. And if you look at it deeply, then you can see the despair in the situation. I don't think I'm coming back.
Along with Thane, Principal Shana Henry, second-year teacher Tarek McFall, Jill Campbell, and nearly half the staff at Edward Kimball Elementary were pink slipped.
It's this whole layoff situation. You have a job, you work really hard, and then it doesn't matter, you're laid off.
We are standing up for schools, but it doesn't end here. Today must not be remembered as the day that 27,000 teachers were sent layoff notices. Instead, let Pink Friday be remembered as a day that marked the beginning of renewed support for our schools.
As the school year comes to a close at Edward Kimball Elementary, you wouldn't know that nearly half the staff doesn't have jobs to come back to next year. At their annual talent day, the teachers put on a show for the kids.
You could see from the celebration today, no one's walking around moping or wearing a shirt saying, I don't have a job, or picketing. It's been very difficult. You're expecting teachers to still come to work every day, be positive, be happy, dance on the blacktop, and all knowing that they don't have a job come June 30th.
Outside of school, Thane's sending out dozens of applications.
I got a rejection notice. They basically said that they had hundreds and hundreds of applicants from California, other states, and international applicants, which makes it seem like there are maybe 400, 500 people going for 2 positions in that district. Hopeless. For most. I'm not there yet. I still have hope.
So when you go to second grade, you can do it too.
Shayna Henry, the principal who turned the troubled school around, might be in the same position.
Everyone tells me I have nothing to worry about because of what I've done here.
She finds out about her job later in the summer.
These are my babies. They are K-3. They are the little ones that everyone leaves behind. If I don't come back here as the principal of Edward Kimball School, I hope that the next principal will just do right by the kids here. Yeah, so I just hope they do right by them.
And maybe the most frustrating irony of all this is with the teachers who get to keep their jobs.
If you're a tenured teacher and you have not been laid off, you have the contract right to go in. You get called in by seniority to look at this open list, and you pick your school.
When budget cuts force districts to close schools, teachers with seniority have the right to a job somewhere else. But if you're a parent with a child at Edward Kimball, would you rather have a new teacher who accepts the tough challenges of this school, or a teacher who probably would rather be somewhere else, but just needs a job?
In the word, it's very frustrating. The school has been a revolving door every single year.
At the beginning of the school year, we asked Thane his thoughts on why new teachers quit.
I don't know why they would leave teaching.
But now,
it's a little more understandable why teachers leave. It's not a stable profession. Not at all. I think it's probably less stable now than it may have ever been in the past. I think that people who have several options probably are starting to look at their other options. My option is teaching, and that's what I want to do. That's what I'm going to keep doing. God willing, or whoever willing, you know, I want to continue with that.
For Thane, married, father of 2 who has car and mortgage payments, there's constantly the need to tell his wife everything's going to be okay.
The difficulty really is when you've gone through those reassurances and you've gone through them and you've gone through them, the situation hasn't changed, and then you start, you know, maybe she doesn't believe you quite as much.
But for true reassurance, Thane goes back to the bike trip that led him to become a teacher and reminds his wife about one story.
We're at the end of the tip of South America. Getting there was a huge, huge deal for us, physically, emotionally. We essentially almost died down there. We ended up trekking 3 days to get there, 1 day to hang out there, and 3 days to come back. 7 days. We took food for 9 days. It took us 9 days to get there. And part of the reason was because there were rivers that we had to cross that had no bridges, and we had to wait for the rivers to be fordable. There was one time when we were running out of food and it was really cold and I just wanted to get it over with. I didn't want to wait, so I decided to cross the river. Very, very cold. I got about to the midway point and I realized I wouldn't be able to make it, and hypothermia started to set in. And Bernice just, without even really a second thought, it seems like, she put the tent up. She did everything. I was just shaking. All my clothes were, drenching wet. I remember telling her I have to get my clothes off and we have to be, skin to skin. She did that, and we just kind of snuggled together, and I was able to calm down after a few hours. She just warmed me up, essentially, is what she did. Having done a lot of different things in my lifetime, that was the one time in my lifetime that I've ever needed somebody, physically needed someone to be there with me. Because I absolutely could not have done that alone. There's no way I could have survived that alone. You go through those kinds of things, and I think you kind of have to have hope about little things like, a job.
Going into this school year, we wanted to find out why so many new teachers quit. And for the teachers at Edward Kemble, the recommendations in Dr. Feudernick's study have merit. New teachers are looking to participate in the direction of their schools. They value quality leadership. They want to rid their teaching schedule of unnecessary meetings and interruptions. But maybe most important, teachers want some sense of job security.
I wanted to be a teacher my whole life, actually. I want to make a change.
I want to be a teacher because I want to be an agent of change.
And an end to the yearly pink slip process.
Too many teachers get frustrated, too many teachers leave the profession.
Prospective teachers are looking at education and saying, is that really a profession I want to go into?
As future educators, we have a major responsibility to not overlook any of these children. And sometimes we forget what it's all about, It's not about us, it's about them.
When I look back, I had to turn the key for the last time. That's when it's going to hit. I'm going to have so many memories. I'm kind of getting choked up a little bit, honestly.
It's real clear to me. If we as a state want to invest in the future, you must invest in public education. If you want to shortchange the future, then go out and shortchange public education.
To order a DVD copy of this program, call 888-814-3923 or visit kvie.org/viewfinder.
At Lionakis, it's always been about relationships, performance, and design.
Lionakis, proud to support education in the community and KVIE Public Television.